Alright, good morning and welcome to Coffee and Sketching in the Morning, where I have about 400 of these little capsules full of toys, little miniature toys, and I just pick one at random from the random object. I pick a random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier, and I throw it up here on this little stage so that I can draw it every morning. Oh, what's happened? My over-the-shoulder camera is not working. We're live, and now is not the time for my over-the-shoulder video to not be working. There we go. There we go. That's got it fixed. So anyway, I throw it up on this stage, and I draw it the way it rolls up here. This morning we've got this TIE fighter. It's a TIE bomber, actually, is the actual name for it, from Star Wars. And when I threw it up there on the stage, and I kind of adjusted it a little bit so that I could get some angles that I thought were interesting. But you know, it's upside down. And then I realized, you know, there's no upside down in space, so it can't really be upside down. But anyway, we're going to draw it today. That is our goal. And with that, I guess let's turn a page and get started. Oh wait, we got theater of the mind going on over here. There we go. Okay. So we did our live stream artistic biker last night. First time in a long time. I think that went well. Painted a sea turtle. I think it went well. I'll spend some time tonight and tomorrow editing the video. Let's see, something weird's happening there. What's happening there? Those are changing sides. This is supposed to be the composition phase. I'm not supposed to be getting into details yet, but this one detail's kind of got my attention. Alright, let's finish the composition. If I get caught up in those details, I'll run out of paper for sure. Alright, so we're going to come out of there. That, which comes this way, which has one of these things. This has one of these things. Which comes up to about there. And then coming out of here, which way does that go? It still goes this way a little bit. Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. I don't know how Bob Ross does this. Anyway, so the point here is to get the composition down so that everything fits where it's supposed to fit, right? But it's so easy just to get lost in the sticks. Morning, Mom. Yeah, I think we had a good time last night. I think it was. She said she thought it went well. The show, the recording last night. All right, I think we're there on composition. Means we're free to start adding some details. Had what, about 7 people in the chat? Our good friend Pamela French showed up. Ivy showed up. It was a nice time. Today's Friday. And you know what that means? Nothing for about 12 more hours. I'll be at work. What's going on with that? Oh, the camera's frozen. It's a good thing somebody said something. Yeah, the camera's frozen. There we go. Yeah, sorry about that. The camera got frozen. When I switched tried to fix the cameras a while ago. I used to have a producer that would sit over there and tell me, "Hey, That happened last night too, during a live broadcast. Thanks for bringing it to my attention, though. We used to do broadcasts like this in a studio in Oklahoma, and my mom would come in, and it was fantastic because I got to spend all that time with my mom and my kids. And she would sit at one end of the table and she would run the chat. And she would tell me if I was on the wrong camera. But you know, the best part was that we got to spend time together. We had a lot of fun doing that. Or I had a lot of fun doing that. Maybe she was stressed about it. I have no idea. But I had a lot of fun doing it. And so ever since then, I've teased her about how I used to have a producer. This is one of those things where it's so, like I said before, it's so easy to get lost in the sticks. There's a lot of little details on here I can focus on. You can make these kinds of sketches. You can make these kinds of sketches be as complicated or as simple as you want. I could have drawn this like two toilet paper tubes. And we still would have had the basics. We still would have got the gist. But I think the important thing here is I want to dedicate a solid 20 minutes to this every morning, because this is my morning practice. And so I want to make sure I get a solid 20 minutes out of it. Alright, I think that's all the detail I want to put into it, though. Is the reference the right reference? That's the important thing. So we've got the overhead, and then it should go to the over the shoulder, and then it should go to the overhead with the reference. But the wolf is gone. That's the important thing. So now should be going to the over the shoulder. I'm going to start coloring this in. Yeah, now I show the overhead reference, overhead with the reference. We're having some technical difficulties this morning. I knocked one of the cameras off the table yesterday during the live broadcast, during the evening show. I knocked one of the cameras off the table. And so, in a mad fit this morning, I set it back up. Hi, Judy. Judy Foster is in the chat. Judy Foster's in his house. We're sketching and drinking coffee this morning, Judy. Dun, dun, dun. I said the word coffee and it inspired the desire to drink coffee. I think that's good for the colorization. I should probably stop before I start adding shadows and clean up all these stray lines so they don't shade in a mistake, as is wont to happen. How are we doing on time? Oh, good God, it's 10 till 6. I've said this before. The idea here is not perfection. The idea here is morning practice. The goal is to draw for 20 minutes and to drink coffee, because I was going to drink coffee anyway. Might as well draw while I drink coffee. Okay, so how does this shadow work? This shadow, this is wicked shaded right here. And then this is kind of shaded here. Like that. But it's in wicked shadow back here. Right? I don't even see any reflected light till you get back here to the edge. When you get back over here, I can see a little reflected light back there. That's probably good enough. Now here, this has a ridge. These things have a shadow. does have a shadow. That edge is kind of lost, and I'm okay with that. But this has a shadow right here. And then this is a mechanism. With its own little shadow. See any detail behind there, so I'm not gonna try and put it in. Coffee. Practice is perfect is a saying in English. In Dutch we say proberen is leren, which translates into trying is learn. Proberen is leren. I have no idea what the vowel pronunciation. Cloudy is in the chat room giving his Dutch lessons. I have no idea what the pronunciation is in Dutch. I know I have that tendency to give all foreign translations a Spanish accent. Proberen. Roll my R's. Proberen is leren. If you ain't trying, that to me that translates into trying is learning. Because it's Spanish aprobar is to try. Let's see, if I turn that the way it's supposed to go, that shadow, we should have added the shadow in during the composition phase. Somebody was eager to get to the details. I'm not naming any names. Somebody was eager to get to the details and didn't quite put all of the composition in place. So all right. And now we can fix that. So it looks like I'm scribbling back and forth. I'm not scribbling back and forth. I'm actually making a loop with my pencil. I'm making all the marks go the same way, so they're heavy on one side and they're lighter on the other side, and it makes it easier for them to blend. When I change directions, it'll blend easier. And my enemy is the paper actually coming up, bouncing off the pieces below it. I tell you that because when you look at it and you say, wow, he does that so smooth, it looks smoother than it actually is, but the reason it looks smooth is because of how it is all one direction. We're not scumbling. We will scumble, but we're not scumbling yet. Scribble. When you get further back here, the mechanism becomes darker than the shadow. So but there's bounce light up on the mechanism too, so it's not the tendency is to not draw the shapes and the colors on it because it's in shadow, but it's not 100% in shadow. Like I said, there's bounce light on it. So you can see shapes and details even in the dark side. Maybe I'll get a chance to break out my little eraser tool that I have that lets me erase in perfectly straight lines. So, but as you get closer to where that contact is, that shadow gets super dark, but then there's reflected light around it. Like that. But it needs to make sure we're connected. We want to make sure those two shapes stay connected. All right. And I need to make sure we don't lose that as a shadow, because it's real easy to forget that is a shadow. Now, the whole thing is not white. The whole thing is a dark blue. Right? So we need to go back and separate the whole thing from the paper. Like that. What are we doing on time? Do we have time for this? It's only just now 6 o'clock. Let me see here. Dun, dun, dun. And then do I may not have the proper tool for this prepared. let's see what happens. If I come back through here. Like that. Can't even tell I did anything. Actually, you can. It's just very subtle. These little tools like this have these shapes on them, but you're supposed to use like a nylon eraser. It lets you zoom in and you can keep a perfectly straight line or a teardrop or dots or whatever. This is a pretty handy tool and I keep it in my wallet. But honestly, boys and girls, I think we're about done. I think I could sit, like I said, I could sit here and I could fuss with these details. And we could spend hours and hours and hours fussing with these details. But I think we got the gist of it. The problem with having a camera on the right hand side of you and being right-handed is your right hand always blocks the camera. It doesn't affect you guys because I have multiple cameras. But it plays when it comes time to the recording of the short. It comes into play. Alright, I'm calling it. Like I said, we can mess with this all day. I'm going to go through and clean up the stray lines. On the shadow. Actually, this can't talk already. It's hard to talk when you're holding your tongue just right. All right, there we go. Let's see. Why is my phone giving me fits? All right, let's see how it stacks up to the reality. We have to figure out where was I when I was drawing this, so you get the same angle. That's what the shadow shows. I think that's it right there. So there's that. Let's see, where does that need to be in focus? Somewhere around there. "2018 was a long time ago too, Claudia." Claudia's in the chat telling my parents about how long we've been online friends. 2018 was a long time ago. If you're curious, this is what we did last night on the live stream. We did a sea turtle painting. That was fun. I think we're going to do those on Thursdays, like we've always done. Set this up for the thumbnail, so that the live stream doesn't cut off while we're still recording. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I have to start getting ready for work, so we will see you tomorrow. I want a hatted raccoon on a shirt in pre-order. Okay, Claudia, I'm on that. I'm going to figure out how to do that, and I'm on that one. In the next couple of days, I will have figured out how to do that, and I will let you know how you can order that shirt. You guys have a great day, and we will do this again tomorrow morning.